Hi parents, welcome to week 14 of your GKIS app. So today I'm going to talk about something that is nothing any of us want to think about. And hopefully this will never happen to anybody in your family or anybody that you know. But unfortunately, it does sometimes. And I treat families in my clinical practice where this has impacted them. And I'm specifically talking about predators, hate groups, and cults online. So let me get started so that you know the red flags to look out for to prevent digital injury from predators and bad actors online. Okay, this is from your week 14 downloads. And what I say is that of all the digital injuries I write and teach about, this one is perhaps the scariest. In the old days before the internet, kids were only at risk from scary people intent on hurting them if they ran into them in person. So that means that kids were as safe as their neighborhood. But now creeps and predators can actively hunt and seduce kids where and when kids least expect it, in online neighborhoods. In real life neighborhoods, nosy neighbors help keep an eye out for strangers. There's little security in online neighborhoods. And if somebody gets reported and kicked off the platform for acting inappropriately, they can simply return with a new username and fake image. We can't often even tell an adult from a child, and certainly not the good guys from the bad guys. This is why the FBI Criminal Cyber Response and Services branch is one of the most active branches in the FBI. So online neighborhoods, it's much easier to get away with things than our offline neighborhoods. So to stay safe, kids must make wise decisions about what online neighborhoods they visit, like which social media platforms they use, which video games they play, and which online forums and websites they visit. They'll also have to play it smart when it comes to designing their avatar, character, or profile, and when to disclose personal information, if ever. Just because somebody shares their interest in anime, pugs, or music doesn't mean they're a good friend choice. They may be posing as a good friend when they're actually intending to cause harm. So I don't want to scare you, but if your kids are old enough to be online, they're old enough to know that they may be approached by a brilliantly manipulative person who wants to gain their trust so they can do potentially harmful things like exchange photos, videos, and private information, or even try to meet your child in real life. The process of slowly gaining the trust of a victim is called grooming, and online predators are experts at it. Predators actively seek victims. They test out their techniques over and over until they're master manipulators. No matter how savvy you think you are at reading people, anybody can be deceived online without their knowing it. And it's not just single bad actors that are intent on manipulation. Hate groups, conspiracy theorists, and influencers are also experts at dishonestly snaring members. So during your weekly family meetings, stress to your kids that if they ever feel like something is weird or they feel uneasy because of somebody's behavior, they must always trust their gut. That means we must pay attention to our inner voice and not discount it. They need to run the situation by somebody older than them. So somebody they trust so that they can check out if those feelings are valid or not. So I gave you a bunch of articles that are going to teach you why the FBI Criminal Cyber Response and Services branch is one of the most active branches, why it's important to trust your gut and get help. I'm going to go over the red flags of cult and hate group recruitment. How do you know if you're being catfished? How YouTube celebrities scam subscribers? What is an incel and how to inoculate your kid against hate, and how to avoid being a victim of virtual kidnapping. So there's tons of content there for your reading. And I also share readings from my book. So I figured I was just going to handle everything uncomfortable and difficult in 1 week. So don't hate me after this week. I promise I'll follow up with some positive tools. But the other thing that's really difficult for parents is how to handle sex ed. And every family is different based on, your cultural or spiritual or religious beliefs. So I'm offering a bunch of readings as a gift to you, and then you pick what you're comfortable with. It is the most controversial article of all the 200 plus that we have on the GKIS site. And it's based on psychological science and academic learning. So again, trust your gut on what you want to cover. But my belief is that you don't want to raise blindly obedient, naive children, right? You want to teach them about the world so that when they venture out in their offline neighborhoods as well as their online neighborhoods, they know what is okay to talk about and watch and view and what isn't. And then that helps them inform you and you inform them. So let's go over to the red flags that you can look out for that may suggest that your child is interacting with a bad actor online that will give you a heads up so that you can protect them. And then also in the reading, I also share a true story about a client of mine named Tiffany. I changed her name and some of the variables around it, and I've actually treated many where the FBI had to get involved, and including, kids involved with teachers and coaches and mentors. So this is information you really need to know. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to go over a couple slides just to talk to you about radicalization. There are currently 838 hate groups in the US, and they're actively recruiting. Now, cult and hate group recruitment, it used to be, like I said, that you'd have to go to the airport to run into cults, but now they can actually groom your kids over months while your kid is reading interesting content in their bedroom. So what might start out as it just seems like innocent information can actually be a recruiting tactic. And youth are particularly susceptible. And it turns out that teenagers are the most common perpetrators of hate crime. We've seen that with our mass shooters, that many of them have manifestos, and you'll read about that in the reading from my book that's your download this week, where they have been radicalized according to violent, hateful ideas and philosophies that are very different from their families of origin. And these hate groups and cults particularly recruit kids and teens because of that vulnerability, and parents don't even know it's happening under the parents' noses. So you definitely want to know about this topic before your kids run into this kind of content, because the internet is excellent at offering cheap, easy, sophisticated tools for grooming, behavioral manipulation, and coercive thought control. And if you think your child is too smart to fall into it, I hope you're right, but it doesn't always work out that way. So I'm giving you a ton of tools this week. You're going to get, for parents, red tools that will help you identify the signs that your child may be communicating with a predator online. That's just for you guys. And then I have 2 other supplements that I'll mention during our family coaching. One's for kids to identify sneaky grooming techniques, so they'll seek help from you. And then the more heavy duty, intensive, advanced manipulative and coercive techniques for the teens. So, you decide how much of that teen content you want to share with your family. I'm only going to go over the kid content and leave the rest to you, since I'm not sure what ages all your kids are. And then next week, we're going to talk about screen-free zones and distraction from in real life activities. Anyway, I hope that is useful and that we prevent any problems before they become an issue. And I'll see you for our week 14 family video. All right. Thanks for listening. Dr. Tracy Bennett. See you next week.